Hi everybody, welcome back to Suzerain. Just wait for the game to load. Wealth of Nations. So where did we leave it on Tuesday? Can we remember? Let's have a quick remind ourselves. Military. Happy military, modernised air force, experienced generals, diplomacy. Oh, that's right, we had tariff-free oil trade with Velen. We had trade with Velen, trade initiative, relax immigration, trade and alliance Magnolia. That's right. We're defending the border against the BFF. Budget's gone. Oh, that's right. We shaved the budget down by 2. We've opened the L1 railway. It's gone successful. Another victory for Underhall. Underhall achieved. I think we can call that was a raging success. Quite an economic situation. The team gathered in Holsword at the Ministry of the Economy to open a drink. Pour this while we're talking. To conduct an economic overview meeting to go over the current situation. Right, I'm currently pouring a drink at the moment, so bear with me a second. I'll tell you what I'm drinking in a minute. Once I finish pouring it, I'm drinking a Brewdog Brewery, and it's double hazy. It's New England IPA. It's brewed in Ellen, and Ellen is in North Scotland, I think. 7.2%, double hazy. Because they've got a beer called Hazy, which is about 4%. This is like the hazy on with a bit more kick to it. Embrace the archaic. I love Brewdog. I do have shares in the brewery as well. Not massive shares. I mean about 50,000 other people. But anyway, enough of what I'm drinking tonight. Because I'm recording this of an evening. But anyway, yeah, so I'm waffling on a little bit. There we are, right. Back in the game flash, come on. The building was constructed in 1892 by Herrenwald, one of the, if not the most famous architect in Sordland. The building looked simple and elegant, with a few signature domes spread out over the roof. Walking through the large brown doors at the entrance, I was led by 2 assistants upstairs into a meeting room. Everyone stood up as I entered the room, buttoning their seats. Who have we got? Yeah, oh, so nobody of any particular scary. Welcome, Mr. President. It's good to be here. Be civil. Everyone took their seats. I wonder if you've got 3 different greetings. They all seem very not innocuous. I wonder if they'd have different effects. As you all know, today we're going to go over our economic status. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers have done like President Rayne as a dictator. I love how you know how you do that. Maybe one for the future. Let's be doing without much further ado. We are doing whatever we can to mitigate the fallout from Black Tuesday. It will be costly to get back on our feet, Mr. President. I don't know how to say this, but whatever we do, we need more budget. That's the bottom line. We need to squeeze every single soldier we can to survive this. Otherwise, our country might be in a state to declare bankruptcy. Oh dear. Like dominoes, of course, this will also affect the election. I'll do whatever I can to bring us up that budget, even if it's the last thing I do. You're exaggerating. We will overcome this regardless of episode 5 so far. We need to stay on top of this however we can. I agree, we need to fix the situation in order to do that. I'm sure Mr. Gallard would agree. How are we doing in terms of the infrastructure? The success of the first infrastructure project is already showing a positive effect on the economy. Mikhail started grinning as he leaned forward. Thanks to the high-speed railway, our 2 most important cities are linked faster. We are expecting quick economic growth in Greater Sordland and Gelsland. The Business Council is satisfied with the infrastructure improvement. It was a gargantuan effort from our side of the Ministry of the Economy. Efforts are noted. Everyone who has contributed is greatly appreciated. Positive results show that we are on the right path towards economic growth. We can do much more to improve the economy, and we will because our work is far from over. Yeah, you are correct. The subject of tax reforms and many more await for you to debate. David, how do you have the stats on our deal with Agnolia? Our trade with Agnolia has increased our imports and exports by 25% in 1 month, and much more is expected in the future. But higher price Agnolia still didn't result in a trade surplus. That doesn't seem like a positive indicator. Wasn't that what we should look more? Yeah, let's look for more trade partners. I agree. Not just the region. We should target deals internationally. We should improve our relations with Agnolia as a stepping stone to expanding positive influence. Let's support our foreign initiatives with partners as democratic as Agnolia. Okay, align ourselves with more democratic countries is good for Sordland. That's beside the point. I agree. It's good for overall trade with other countries as well. Democratic countries generate more trust in general. Let's see the stats on our deal with Welland. Our trade deal with Welland has increased our imports and exports by 6% in 1 month, which is a considerably good number. Yeah, it's not half. It was a dangerous gamble, but they started to pay off. The profits are yes, but so is the risk. Our support for the military operation was questionable. Regardless, the numbers are clear. I must say I still can't get behind the trade deal with Welland, especially if it involves military cooperation. I feel like we made a contract with the devil. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree with Edith on that one. Well, Beatman and Benefits will come out on top of this. What he's done is done. I hope it was the right decision. There's certainly no use deliberating that decision now. I get the impression they weren't happy about that. Increased trade has improved our economy. I see this as a reason for celebration. On a side note, consumer spending has decreased further due to a pessimistic mood caused by issues with the economy. This is discouraging. We did our best we could offer thus far. I'm confident this will turn around with adaptive project solutions. Yeah, we'll turn the mood around. Good to hear. We will do better. While I agree that our first attempts were not successful, I still might have economic opportunities left. That was a mouthful. It isn't good for our reputation as the people expect quick solutions. We're running out of time. Simon checked his large dossier. Sadly, our budget reserves don't look good. We need to look into whatever we can to increase the budget we have. What can we do about it? I will form up and present you the next steps. As per the latest data, unfortunately, recession seems to be lingering. No matter the cost, we will have to increase our economic development rates. Otherwise, I'm sad to say that we will be doomed. Okay. Doomed! We're all doomed. It reminds me of older UK people of Dad's Army. The Scottish guy, we're doomed! Doomed, I tell you. Anyway, I digress. We need to use opportunities we are showing. Trade deals and infrastructure improvements will always help. Mr. President, I will be very clear. Sam took off his glasses and put them on the table, looked me straight in the eye. You already know this, but I don't want to frighten you. But if we're unable to stop this recession, we are heading towards an economic catastrophe that has never been seen before in Sordland. At least I remember from it. No entire Eastern Macopia. Okay then. I can't even begin to imagine how we could survive that. None of us wants to see such people starve while the state isn't able to provide for its citizens. We need to get to work. We do. Exactly. He put on his glasses. Now, to help with this session, there are a few possibilities I want to outline. We might be in debt, but it doesn't change the fact we need to increase our economic development. There's a potential to take additional debt to flatten the curve. That's a term we've heard a lot recently in recent times in the UK. Flatten the curve, flatten the curve. Anyway, I prepared a few project proposals. There are two main distinctions in between these projects. It's either about continuing our infrastructure improvements or investing in increasing production. If we continue on our infrastructure, that would lift us up to advanced country levels. However, our industrial production suffered and also needs a boost to return to pre-recession levels. There is of course the option not to take any risk at all related to our budget. Plans for these projects will be finalising for now. I can provide preliminary information. Which one would you like to hear about first? Infrastructure. For these projects, we have two projects. The one in Benfield International Airport and the other one is in the Morna Port. Excuse me. Benfica is growing at a rapid pace and would benefit greatly from an international airport. Much more money will be to be made there too. The monoport will boost trade and improve the flow of goods towards Hull because the economy at the port is too small in capacity and the extension is blocked by the Navy headquarters. Morna will be a more significant city with a port and advanced logistical connection. Yeah. I don't think investing in Morna with a port would do much to change our economic prospects. Goods are flowing from other places just as fast. Increase imports and exports on a more accessible path to Hull is very lucrative in my opinion. Time is money. Agree with Edith. The monoport will bring a great deal to our trade and improve the economy of the Lower region too. What projects could boost our production? For production we have two projects. One is Sarna Agricultural and the other is Econo Industrial City. I see Sarna Agricultural and investment as a higher priority due to the fact that farmers in Berger were most hit by the recession. Sarna is also a poor city than economy are. The Econo Industrial City project has the potential to increase manufacturing in the greater Hull region by a large amount. Sarna is a poor city and it deserves investment it can get from the government. Connacht would benefit from a large manufacturing industry. It would bring the city to a position where it could have a Lockhaven. Sarna, because it's close to Berger, and Berger is where we've got all the problems. The farmers have hit, and also we were the son of a farmer, if I remember my history correctly. Recession hit the farmers of Sarna particularly hard. Besides agricultural output increase would boost our economy. The investment won't be able to recover the industry there. Connacht, on the other hand, would bring more financial gain. Our government has the opportunity to support agriculture and we should take it. It would increase our exports too. I have enough information. Well, that covers the subjects for today. Edith, how strong is our economy? It's improving post-election but says unfortunately stagnant. That's in comparison to pre-election levels. Inflation has dropped by 2%. The mood in the Business Council. Business leaders in the country are nervous about the lack of tangible economic improvements in the country. They are holding on to their investments until they feel it's safe to invest their reserves in new hires or branches. Our success in regional trade has boosted our position as a regional trade route, increased likelihood of potential trade partners. We have imported and exported more across the board with all countries except Rumberg. I think I have enough information. Goodbye. Until next time, President, see you soon. The meeting ended. We need to be pushing towards Lesbia and Arcasia. We need to try and get a deal with these guys down here. Oh, let's have a look at this one then. And Welland border reinforcements, and that says one begins Operation Better against BFF targets. Marine policies reiterated commitment to defend the Welland border against any threats from around, and then that's new reinforcements to the border. Okay. Swedish Armed Forces always stand vigilant against the threats inside and outside the borders. We will not allow terrorists to waltz into Sordland. Okay. Protesters brutally beaten by police. Okay. Yeah, that's tough on nights because we are. If you were role playing it, as well as hitting the BFF, we would be hitting innocent civilians as well. So that's a tough one, that is. And you can guarantee this lunatic will be hitting everybody. Begins. Remember, mobilising in order to cut and walk on. Yeah, that's kind of a worry. That's not going to do well for us. But if it keeps the military happy, let's have a quick over here. So, polio cases, distracted curve infections, quantifications are 30. Again, that's relevant to what's going on in the world at the moment. Place British Governor Berger. A reports a large group of students gathered in protest downtown by disrupting and acting violently. Police immediately reacted to the situation and brought them under control. That was a protest the radicals said we beat people up in. Has warned us about the increasing naval presence of Alexander Merkin. He showed his wishes to have a stronger naval cooperation sort of in the future. Yeah, they're going to drag us into war with that lot. They are. We need to get in the bed with Lesbia and Arcasia. That's got to be our priority, it really has. Let's have a look at this one. Business Education has reported that the party's effort for education is going well and they are on track to meet targets. The capital received Fund the privatised schools and competing private investors have shown great results in the form of new schools and improved quality education in the most major cities. It's good to know. There are several infrastructure projects outlined which we could restart. Oh Christ. Right, I'm torn between the Morna Port or Sana Agricultural Zone. Let's go Sana Agricultural Zone. Let's go for production. Yeesh. Yeah, really, you don't say. What else to read? Budget allocation of healthcare. I was having my afternoon tea in my office and gone through our newspapers. One of the headlines piqued my interest. It read polio crisis in Welland. Before I could stop reading, I heard a couple of knocks on Pascal, followed then by Lucy. And we spent time for a scheduled healthcare meeting. Good afternoon. Best take your seats. After taking their seats, Pascal produced documents from his suitcase and put them on the table. Pascal looked at the newspapers I was reading, very troubling from news from Welland. Just returned from a meeting where top scientists indicate the matter of polio. It seems to be spreading. I'm not worried. What are we doing to prepare? We've notified all our healthcare staff, especially the ones close to Welland Board. Unfortunately, there are also more rural areas where we lack critical staff. What I was told by researchers was that with the current infection rate, there will be millions of people affected by polio. We need to be ready for any possibility. I doubt it will be that serious yet. Pascal put his reading glasses and went through the documents. He didn't say anything for a whole minute. Mr. Bennywall, yes, of course, let's start. He put his papers down, cleared his throat and looked at me. In general, I'm very content with the budget decision that was made. You should be, because it's plunged into massive debt. This comes as a very pleasant surprise that we all welcomed at the Ministry. Overall mood is positive and the administration focuses on healthcare. I'm excited about what we can achieve with allocated funds. Let's go on. I'm personally invested in solving the whole infant maternal death rates along with your requests. As you know, I have been preparing a new privatisation programme that would create more funds selling unused ministry property and some extra taxes. It might not go against our strategy to promote a market's economy, but I'm personally against privatisation of government services. Yeah. Aside from creating additional funds, there's a long-term problem with privatisation in a country like Sordland. What are these problems? People are already lacking proper healthcare, even though it's free. What is when you prices increase as state hospitals are closed due to sales? It will prevent the worst case scenario. There needs to be healthy structural improvements in the sector. This is not a case of North Lesbia. You are talking about Sordland, which healthcare is free for now. We have people who are their lives dependent on a service that is free to them. Messing like that structure will definitely hurt us politically in the future. That I'm sure. We promote privatisation on the private sector. We'll keep it state now. Yeah, let's just go with that. I'm thinking what Gloria, the Speaker of the Assembly said, not to touch the health service. So I'm not going to do is annoying, and it's going to be a big question of how to spend the extra funds dedicated to ministry. What are your suggestions? 3 options to use the major funds on. We can build new hospitals where needed. We can spend the money on increasing salaries for health workers, or we can spend the money on improving existing treatment in rural areas. It would boost our popularity. Increasing salaries would have a good effect. Yeah. We'll do our old ill-equipped and understaffed, which causes huge urban disparity. It is one of the causes of maternal deaths and other sickness, which I want to solve within this term. Yes, due to our facilities, lack of hygiene and equipment. I believe improving treatment in rural areas should be our focus, Mr. President. Yeah, let's go after rural areas. That's all then. Well, it's short. Thank you for the meeting. Okay. Yeah, I might have voted our economy a little bit, not to worry. The trouble and justified case of Ishval is making from local community. Both in court The systematic risks and threat around the country seems to have no limits, especially when it comes to the largest minority of our nation. The truth is, the situation is very bleak, and the British people demand their long-awaited rights. Okay. I'm still not fully clear what this is about. Just opened up the streets protests, ignoring governors, increased control of housing administration. Yeah, that's just something. Yeah, we've allied ourselves this up. To defend, to protect us against Rumberg, but in actual fact they're going to drag us into a war with Vagsland. Let's have a look over here first. Bloody civil rights. Isha Valles sued the Diamondist Party led by infringements of constitutional rights regardless of religious expression. The question is the legality of the... Right, so it's about... Okay. It's about forcing people to form religious acts in Swordish. Okay. Friends Rector is there for administration. Needed more support, that's why I had invited Friends Rector for a chat. Then convert. He and his party held the key to our success. We met at the President office at the end of the day. He arrived with a signature, navy blue and a box of famous occasion chocolate set around the couch. It's good to have you here, Mr. Richter. Likewise, it's nice to finally have some time to talk. The following week, I flipped it open. I could see scribbled in maiden margins on my draft proposal. I have to say, I'm surprised by the proposal you've prepared for the new constitution. Some of the changes. What parts don't you understand? I don't know where to begin. You ignored the demands for low under the democratic threshold. How you call this a democratic package? Be realistic. A realist. Is that excuse most presidents say the proposal is realistic, but what demand is not? And you're saying, well, this while you're begging me for my party support. A bit smaller, get a step forward as a step forward. Well, that's true. We shouldn't stop anyone from trying their best. That being said, I may be willing to support a proposal even if I don't find it sufficient. However, I'm still not sure what to make of it. You're going to miss a chance for reforms just because they don't contain everything you want. You're putting all reformists in a tough spot like this, Mr. Rayne. I'm sure it was tough to persuade your party to support this proposal. But this is what happens when you expect USB to bring change. I don't expect me to sympathise with you. Not only have you minimised potential reforms, you better have something else to offer. Here we go. I have nothing to offer but democracy. Oh, this is a difficult one. I've had this conversation before in the previous one. So yep. Oh, the idealist reformist is asking for a bribe. Oh God. I have nothing to offer but democracy. Sordland, not anything else, but I have to look after myself and my party. That's all you understand. And if we're talking democracy here, you promise not doing the cast. And first you need to promise that you're not going to cast a shadow over PFJP anymore. Okay. Of course, you can count on me. That's good to hear. And like I say, I've got no intention of doing anything like that at all. And I will hold you to a promise, and I'll hold you to yours. What else? Nope, let's just leave it at that. You left. I'll see you in the history books. I'll see you in the history books. I do like that line. Okay. That went easier than I thought it would do. It's a lot easier than I thought it would do. President meets Richter. Okay. 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 Okay, let's have a look then. See if let's have a look. Have a look at the country overview. welfare, free. Okay, not something I want to look at. I want to look at political overview. Factions, old guard. Right, so what do they? How many seats have they got? Gloria, Toy, that's nice. So we've got them 70 seats. It's going to be tough, but we might get it through. Right. Right. Underhaul or put for their bids, hoping to win the government contract, the new ambitious investment project. Underhaul, they did alright the last one, didn't they? Decrease. Oh my god. This budget's with. Oh no. Update on the situation of education. Let's go with this one. Sunset I was in my office working on the preliminary details about car centre curriculum. The phone rang, I picked up. Mr. President. Yes, what is it? Mr. Manager is online, sir. This is about an investment. Excellent, collect him. As you wish. Noise indicated the lane had changed. What do I have this pleasure? Mr. President, as you see, might inform you I was calling you about what we discussed at the party. I'm honestly very glad I've decided to attend Mr. Vice President's little gathering. I have enjoyable party time, even more enjoyable with the actual results out of it. Let's hear the results. Very well then. I'm happy to inform you that your investment to procure Vineyard Early has been accepted by the current resident. You are now the owner of a lovely vineyard, a beautiful villa and a sizable land. As I mentioned before, there might be some cost related to refurbishing the winemaking equipment, however, the facilities are there. And the deed and the key sent to you immediately. I forgot about this. Congratulations are in order, Mr. President. See, I told you I'm looking forward to some successful ventures we might together in the future. Thank you for your time. Let me know. Of course, I'll be in contact. Even if I'm dropped. So basically, we own a vineyard. Woohoo! So if we fail as a president, we can go into making wine. What could possibly go wrong? Right, let's have this difficult conversation. After meeting with the rector and a brief tour of users at Ragland, we gathered in a room with Gara. The entire campus was visible from the window. Students were reading books, studying, and having picnics under the trees. They reminded me of my own times in Dye University of Culture, at least the more carefree moments. Reminiscing about the past. Yes, it has ups and downs, but it was still fun. Now we're growing old and bitter. Let's not get sidetracked. I want to start off by saying this. So it was very positive to see the administration dedicate funding that was requested. I make sure that the additional funds are being used in the best ways possible to resolve structural issues. Speaking of, the state has had to rely on privatisation funds is a disgrace. We are letting private interests meddle in the most essential service learning. New private schools are increasing disparity of services and education. Low income households can't afford a private school in their district and might not need to send their schools to a public school far away. Send their children, I should say. So thank you for allowing me to lead our education system in that direction by removing nationalist indoctrination and traditional teaching. We have unlocked potential for the next generation. Students will now thank us in the future, President Rayne. Now, like potential of critical thought, this society desperately needed in this various capacities before you. Like you to form to become something better. Something promising and grand, Mr. We're on something promising and grand, Mr. President. She nodded and brought out a stack of papers from her bag. Spinning a ballpoint pen, she went through the papers, organising them together. Our minister has prepared necessary framework regarding how to spend and increase education budget. I've outlined three potential options. We build new rural schools, improve standards of existing ones, or increase salaries of education workers. Because additional funds for professors on top of the increased budget, we should be able to implement two of these options. Let's tell me about the plans to build new rural schools, which is critical. We are losing many young people to ignorance and illiteracy. Population is full of untapped potential. With enough education, these people could be an asset to our workforce and society. Look how United Kingdom is pushing past Arcadian educational research. It's because most of their rural populace has access to schools. Now, what does improve rural entail? Where to start there? At least we need new equipment and materials. Many of the schools are facing a shortage of desks and textbooks. The ones that haven't been updated since before the Sordland administration. The teachers lack resources to give sordid youth a proper education. It can be as bad as if they don't go to school at all. Why should we increase the salary? The job itself should be held in high regard and potentially compensated accordingly. These people have chosen to dedicate themselves to the betterment of all this to raise the standards of the next generation. They ought to give them what they deserve. I'm ready to decide. Build new skills. Increase. So we build real skills. Our primary goal must increase access to education. Yep, and then improve it. Enough resources to initiate another policy plan. What would your preference be? I feel gratified that we're finally seeing the people directly. I will pass on to the ministry. That is all for now. I've talked Miss Suna to schedule some time to discuss her curriculum. She's a very astute woman, your secretary. You may want to consider promoting her. We'll meet again very soon. Thank you for your efforts. And off she goes. Okay, more news. The new mega project, Sardana Agricultural Zone. President Rayne has just announced plans to run your agricultural zone in Sardana. Sardana has been awarded a contract and will be taking over the daunting task of transforming the city and its neighbourhood. Okay. So, well, refugees are fleeing to the border. Increasing complex. We won't. We've shut the borders. Fashion effects. Not bothered about the radical because they're loons. Okay. Well then. But it well-known forces are moving towards the town of Arnon, though, where many bloodshed victims were assaulted. Initial reports of a very high death toll. This Swedish border, they've turned unfortunately ensured. Okay, that's not pleasant. That's not pleasant at all. That's not a pleasant thing to have to deal with. Yeah, what can I do though? I looked at a lot of things, but we didn't, did we? So we should carry on. Ministry of the Economy reports that recent government spending has left the country in constant debt. A considerable number of businesses are convinced that the central bank will print more money to cover the deficits. Hence, they are relying on spend reserves, resulting in the prices of goods and wages rising substantially. Yeah, I think you're right there. We're falling into a debt trap. Okay. Again, current curriculum taught in schools. The ministry has located in the government building right next to the Ministry of Health. It was tall, narrow, wedge-shaped, and like a flat open book. Near the front gate there were many statues of well-renowned scientists and thinkers. The largest, of course, was Einstein, the greatest scientist of all time. I do like that. Above the main entrance was a familiar description of Instretensis Agnikar av Gorengingana. If anyone can read Swedish better than me, then good luck. I do apologise for butchering that. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. Sarah building I was greeted by a cast assistant led me to a meeting room where she was standing aside. She stood and gripped my hand. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Cara. I'll cut straight to the chase. Good. Progressive reforms of Sordland education is well underway. There's one sticking point. It involves evolution versus creationism. As it stands, schools across Sordland can decide whether to include evolution, creationism, or both in their curriculum. Rural schools often decide in favour of creationism only, which puts students at a disadvantage when it comes to entering university. The effect is especially noticeable in young women. My suggestion is make teaching of evolution mandatory and preferably ban creationism altogether. Evolution, the idea that ought to be banned is dangerous. I don't agree with teaching children supernatural nonsense like creationism. I don't see the problem both theories, teaching both. That would be one way to compromise, yes, but does creationism really open minds of our children? I see it promotes blind acceptance of the world as it is, no facts or verification needed. Children should be encouraged to think critically and ask questions. Creationism, other religious teachings hinder that. You have a point perhaps in a place, and regardless, I don't believe schools need to ban creationism entirely. I don't see the side for themselves. What about so-called evolution theory? Why should children violently accept that? Schools. There must be a place for religion. There must be a place for religion in our schools. Let's go with that one. Learning about religion does not make everyone morally correct, does it? Well, that's a fair point. Oh, you forget about religion. This is motivated terror attacks. And yeah, probably not the right answer. Dare you define this what's true for? Terror doesn't change what I think. It's not the same thing. Oh great, I've got myself into a religious argument. Oh great, alright. This is going nowhere. Okay, I've upset That's a blow. I've gone and upset Carla. Get me away. Okay, Mr. President, Mr. Alder. Make some points. Point. I think we should require mandatory teaching of evolution and cut creators might completely out. If we want children for world to have some opportunities as their urban counterparts, this is the way. So I'm just I've got my glasses on. I've got my headphones on top of my glasses. And it's squashing my glasses into my ears, which is rubbing my glasses against the back of my ears. Anyway, enough of that. Opening student eyes and reducing all the religion in schools will also lead to more equality between men and young men and women. In this world, don't bring your pet cause into this. The President, are there all considerations you may not have thought about? Although I myself believe in evolution, we must be careful not to alienate a real conservative voter base. Exactly. We like their support, forcing their school districts to teach evolution could irreparably damage our standing with them. As a modern nation is moving criticism in their curriculum, yes, we are supposed for our schools to promote fundamental, yes, sexist ideas from 1,000 years back. So that is what we are doing now, copying what other nations do instead of paving our own way. If it works, why not? Okay, so we shouldn't reinvest the wheel as we speak. That's not what I said. Violence. Yep. Okay, yep. I like it either. I don't like it either. We'll have to prepare to lose a lot of votes. Yeah. Alright, it's your decision. Don't forget the future. We ban and schools. I'll make teaching evolution mandatory, but schools may promote creators longer if they wish. Let's go with that. Watching a better outcome and banning creationism altogether. Exactly. Okay, she's completely against it. This is an argument we're never going to get out over this, right? A second, then the meeting shut it after. That went well. More updates. Okay, look, also the post has got a lot going on about. Nationalise a Big Four now. Should nationalise the more so-called Big Four companies. That will prevent price gouging. It's interesting. Other blame prices. Viewed. Okay. Similar racism, regional burger accused. Okay, this is this Ishval fellow again, which is clear about the rights of religion in Burger, I reckon. Casaro raises Buddhist question. The previous proposed law will make Swedish only accepted language in educational institutions. This law, the unified educators, is squarely aimed at the Buddhist community, whose integration is no longer the problem. Yeah, okay, Dave's dissension. Okay. Privatisation in the future of Sordland. In hindsight, eating a Pringle in the middle of the recording is probably not the wise thing to do. I apologise for that. So I took a bite and I thought, no, I really shouldn't be doing that. For those that are interested. The sour cream and onion Pringles. My wife, but she had COVID about a month ago, 2 months ago now. I've still not recovered her sense of taste, smell. Wasn't bad, man. We got off lucky with that, to be quite honest with you. But she's still so. I've swapped in my salt and vinegar Pringles, which are really kind of like boom, very sweet and sour. Right, so we've got we advocate privatisation. Right, so we've got the argument and wholesale post is nationalisation of the Big Four. Right, it's down in Lockhaven, not Lockhaven. Was it Sordland today? Sordland want to privatise it. That's fair enough. Rayne's curriculum compromises forces to evolve slightly. I love the radicals headlines sometimes. Okay, nothing much you see there. Self-economic recession. Yeah, we know about that. Just depressing. Let's have a look in there. The basic investment provided by the government's output used via various programs. Okay, let's come down here. To close, the consensus is that while the Bush aren't well on a long way towards neutralising the bloody threat, there are many preventable casualties. Okay. Okay, it might distract the insurgents away from us. I'm going to attack Welland. Okay, let's look at this one. Anti-corruption police has completed preliminary investigation into suspected members of the Old Guard, including these people. No concrete proof of corruption yet been revealed. Wait. Program built aims unify social education. I'm not having that. Here we go. Very well-planned lobbying effort in the parliament which will especially sway fence MPs who commit constitutional right. Plan. I spend one personal wealth. Decrease in personal wealth. Continue. Okay, then we shall do exactly that. Chapter 3, Victims of Change. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of that at all. If I'm not a victim of this change. Ooh. Okay. Wait for it to load. Right. Let's hope. Let's have a look. Ooh, that's still not any better. The economy's still gone through the floor. Porter villages in Suzerain, a group of BFF missionaries are seeking to recruit militants to fight for the BFF. They're in active working to eliminate the threat. Good. Let's see up here. Nope. Radical. British plight. He's got a point. Regular man shot after burning a gun. Oh dear me. This was my concern. Raglan holds the right to intervene to save her people. That's my worry, that we get dragged into some war with Raglan. We need to get diplomatic contact with Lesbia. Marcel Conrati, what does he want? I was looking in my office, looking through the agenda for the upcoming meeting of the Ministry of the Economy. As the meeting was going to be about the ownership of the Big Four, the four largest companies in Sordland. Some of these companies were controlled in part or entirely by the state. These are all mostly or completely privatised. Held the power to change that. Picked up the phone. Greeting Mr. President, I'm sorry to disturb you before you take such an important meeting, but I thought I would have good time to talk about our arrangement. I'm sure you agree that the support I and my network have given the organisation has been nothing but beneficial. Half of the non-state media in the country have been showing positive news about you and downplaying negative events. Okay, I'm glad you agree. Your public opinion could have nosedived if not for us. I had a knock on wood. On the other note, thank you for choosing London Construction for the complete L1 railway. It's close friend investment in London, and the contractor firm has tripled its returns. They made our opening a success. Number one construction company Sordland after all. Moving on. I know small, but I have to give you credit where it's credit's due or overdue in this case. Your business bailout greatly benefits certain subsidiaries of Haas that were reporting record losses. We managed to avoid closing those companies, and they satisfied the board of Haas with a great profit, with a great high profit report in return. Employment was our primary decision, of course. I can't help but mention the tax breaks must have been given if you wanted. And for try quarterly performance, Haas now operate a much larger revenue pool. Your success is strengthened the backbone of the Swedish economy. Of course, private corporations have always had a financial leg up to boost investments. Yep. Increasing investment in South Sordland is a key topic in our board discussions. Out of goodwill, I'll share a key piece of information. The Lothberg Group has contingency plans if you decide to do anything rash that would disrupt their empires. You can't blame them, can you? Imagine someone trying to take your authority and personal wealth away without consent. Don't see why we should be enemies. Exactly. If everyone plays the right cards right, we'll all do fine now. Let's look about this card. Since the start of your campaign, you've always wisely committed to a market economy. Judging by that, I'm sure you'll be looking to privatise some of the companies that currently state-owned. I believe therefore privatising both Nedum and Sordland would benefit both. That would be in both our interests. That's why I'm considering buying stocks in those companies. Might be too much. Both might be too much. I'll see what I can do. Think about this way, it's another step forward in strengthening our economy. Please think about at least think about it. Clear this throat, I will be blunt. Mr. Gus is unfit to be the spokesman for the Lothberg Group. It's archaic thinking, has only preserved the status quo that benefits himself and precious few others. It's high time that something changed. What do you have in mind? Who do you have in mind to replace him? Who do you think? Me, of course. Here's what I propose, a win-win situation. If you promise a majority of shares from the privatisation, he would lose considerable power, which means I could take over. You may recall that one of the terms of our agreement was, and I'm asking for one favour, well, this is it. Do you accept? I'll have to think about it. Think about all the free help you've got from me and the many scandals you might have to cover up on the way to re-election. Well then, I've taken enough of your time today. It's been a productive call. Thank you for your time, Mr. President. Thanks for myself. We'll talk later. Okay then. I could get sticky. What do you call? Yep, we're getting blamed for refugee suffering. Not what I can do about that really. Illegal crossings. Reported increased numbers of arrests of bloodshed Wessex cities attempted to enter the country from well-earned temporary detention centres have been erected in Suzerain to process and deport the illegal entrants. Pleasant. Okay. Right. This week, General Staff had a meeting in which Asef Lesang voiced his pleasure to work under your administration. According to the rumours, the current president is a man of tradition. He's strong and he's decisive. I've worked President Sol before. I know President is my friend, and I know he's proud of what President Aaron has achieved. Anton has achieved. That's nice to hear. Okay. Let's have some time to discuss potential repercussions of the upcoming economic meeting. He arrived on time, took his seat across opposite me. Good morning, Mr. President. Lisa's dark circle under his eyes. The plethora of political developments must have been weighing up, even on a workaholic like him. Are you're a bit tight? Yeah, I'm trying to, sir. Don't push yourself too much. I'll try not to. Must you don't look much better. Thanks. I looked at myself in a small hand mirror, similar circles beneath my eyes as well. I booked some of your time to pre-plan for today's meeting at the Ministry of the Economy. We need to be cautious. Any grand plans about economy also heavily influence our political standing. We would be changing our relationship with the oligarchs and the opposition. As you know, the meeting will gives the opportunity to alter the relationship of the big four largest corporations of Sordland. We can start the process of nationalisation, privatisation, or just keep the status quo. And again, I remind you, any change that tips an already fragile balance. I personally think we should stay out of this and keep things as they are. There's no need to make new political enemies at this stage of it in our term. Ultimately, the decision is yours. Which way are we leaning and how should we move forward? Administration should avoid upsetting their company structure. I have to ask why. What's your intention? I want to improve relationship with the West. I need to privatise our economy. Privatisation will help bring us out of contract recession. The oligarchs are powerful and they aid us in the assembly if we help them. Truth, I don't care what anybody thinks. If we want to improve our relationship with this, we need to privatise our economy. Bring us out of recession. That may be true, but taking everything out of the state hands may drive repercussions of country like ours. We need to tread carefully. Also remember that since you've been transparent about promoting market economy, privatisation will not cost as much support. I received a report from the Ministry of Economy that may impact your decision. Unfortunately, we have missed our government budget targets for this quarter. The plan to change ownership of important assets could help us generate much needed resources to help improve the economic development before the next election. Something to consider as our relationship, as is our relationship with the oligarchs. We need to remember that they only care about their own profits. Unfortunately, they aren't on good terms with them. This situation has been obstructing some of our efforts with the economic recovery. However, if we implement the privatisation plan, they will surely be delighted. Still, we need to make sure that we don't go overboard with it. If we do, we might lose our base in both the SB and among the people. If we privatise only part of their companies, perhaps we could get out of this unscratched. Yeah, that would certainly be a wise compromise. Some of my connections indicate there seems to be a contest leadership in the Lotto Group. Yeah, I know about that, mate. It looks like Marcus Conronti is making moves to become the key figure. Conronti probably wants his father's seat at the head of the group, and Tusters want to let go of it. It's a significant power struggle considering our head of Sordland's two largest private corporations. If we over-privatise our state-owned companies, the Saudi state corporation head, and it could result in the balance tipping to one side. There will be a fight over buying up the shares and cause chaos. Since you have already made a decision to privatise, you need to decisive in your follow-up actions. From Marcel, what did he ask for? He wanted to make a deal to leave. I stopped him before he could say anything. He wanted to make a deal to leave untouched. And then I said, I think about it very well. Was that all he wanted? He wants me to give him shares, as I expected. The civil conflict with Oligarchs puts us in an interesting position. He wants just another centre of the century. Our relationship with Multitusk hasn't been good so far. Any move to make now has to be calculated and thought through. Has to look at his watch very well, then it's almost time. I will inform Mr. Hall of your decision and we will make the necessary preparations to formulate a plan. I must get back to work now. See you at the next meeting. Thank you for your time, sir. Lucian got up from his chair and left the office. Right, country update. Over panel country update. Order. Corruption tackled. Thanks to successful anti-corruption policies, illegal behaviour has been largely reduced. Fantastic. The economy is still barely being flushed down the toilet, but tensions keep rising in the American Sea. Wagner fleet has been patrolling the American Sea, was directly responsible for the disappearance of 2 fishing vessels, a drilling ship, and an oil tanker belonging to Magnolia. President Van Houten condemned. Yes, this yeah. Right. I think because this is going to be a long conversation, so what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to put a cut in just here because that's going to be a long conversation. So, like I said, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go. Thanks very much for watching. Was that a successful session or not? I don't really know. We're still alive, so that's a success to me. We're still not sorted out getting the revised constitution in, but it seems like we could do. We have to tread carefully on this next meeting, get through that, and hopefully we might have some good news next day in the next session. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. As ever, hit the like and subscribe button, helps the channel out no end. And just thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.